Welcome back to the channel. We're in the garage today, but today I'm not going to be working on anything. I'm going to be answering some questions. Recently I made a post on Instagram, YouTube, my Discord, just asking if people had general questions about what's going on with the channel, the bikes, me, and so on. I haven't actually done a Q&A in quite some time. I think the last time I did one might have been when we got back from Laconia, when we trailered up there with the bikes and stuff. And since then, it's just kind of been like garage project, trip, and all that stuff. So I figured I might as well open up the internet and see what everybody's burning questions are. So with that said, let's get into it. So yeah, I've got a list here of some of the general questions I got online, kind of combined a few since they were a little bit related. One of the first questions I got is, am I happy I'm not snowbirding this year? Yeah. Am I happy I'm not in Florida again? Kinda, yeah. I mean, the best thing I think that came out of Florida was the class that Jess and I got to take to forge our own knives. Black Hog Knives, which I think he might be moving shop, so I have to visit his new place. But I love that experience. It was very cool to get to make my own knife and go through that entire process. I loved that. But the rest of the Florida, meh. Do I still race cars? I do not race cars. Let's see here. I've sold my Scion like 4 years ago or so, maybe. I can't remember how long now. I don't race cars anymore. I kind of miss it. But selling the Scion opened up a lot of opportunities for me, because when I sold that car, I was able to take that money, pay off my truck, basically become debt-free. So that was kind of like the trade-off. And that was like during the whole pandemic, and that car was worth more money than what I bought it for. So I would have been an idiot if I held on to that car and didn't make my money back plus some. If I got back into racing, I would rather do Rallycross now. There are groups in Ohio that do Rallycross. Not like WRC or anything like that. I'm talking more like along the lines of autocross, where they're 35, 45 minute and a half long, maybe lap sessions. That would be really cool to get into, but it's all money. And everything for me right now is far away. That's one reason why I kind of got out of doing autocross, is if I want to go race, it's minimal hour drive one way. So it used to be 20 minutes down the road, no longer like that. Everything kind of moved away, unfortunately. If it comes back, might be more inclined to actually go out and race again. Am I planning any solo campouts or dual sport trips? Yeah, I really want to do more dual sport trips. Kind of got a little local group of guys that like to go out and do some of the routes with me. I'd love to go back and do the MABDR. It is quite the venture. It does take quite a bit of time to do it in completion, especially if you're trying to enjoy it. If you don't know, the MABDR is the Mid-Atlantic Back Discovery Route. It starts in like Damascus, Virginia, and ends up on like the New York border. It's right around 1,000 miles. I originally tried to do that with a bunch of other guys on Sportsters, and it all kind of fell apart after day 2 or 3, mostly because of scheduling conflicts. A couple people got hurt, bikes were breaking. I had to stop. I came around the corner and dude's stuff all fell off the luggage rack. I was picking it up and I was going to try to throw it on with the bungee cord, but he ended up coming back for his straps and all his gear. I kind of wish I just stayed on the route by myself now. I probably could have done it solo, but I don't regret it necessarily. If I go back, I'd rather go at my own pace and enjoy it a little bit more. It wasn't the most prepared group, but I don't know, it was okay. It is what it is when you get into a group that has 12, 13 people like that. I mean, that's one reason why I won't do a big trip like that with a big group. I'll probably stick with 1 or 2 guys, because it's hard enough with just 2 guys on my routes around Ohio. How do I organize for a trip for lodging and route? who looks after my pet? So we actually knew a girl in town that does house sitting for pets. She can either stay at the house or you can just have her come by a couple days a week, look after the pet. And we have a cat, so it's pretty easy. Just swing by, every other day, every 3 days, check the litter box, make sure the food's topped off. We do a pretty large water container, automatic feeder, stuff like that. So the cat is pretty self-sufficient if anyone's ever had a cat. As for how do I plan a trip for lodging and routes, figure out where you're going, what your destination is, I should say. I literally just go through Google and Maps, and then I actually just zoom in on Google Maps and start looking for points of interest, certain roads, certain gas stations. I'll actually predetermine most of my gas stations along the entire route. It does take some time, but that's how I also planned out all my routes for towing with my truck out west, all the way down to Florida, all the way up to New Hampshire. Hopefully that helps. I don't know, that's my system. What is recommended for a starter outfit for riding? When I originally started riding, I just wore a pair of boots. I got a leather jacket, some leather gloves, and a HGC helmet. When I started ADV riding, I started wearing heavier gear, stuff like that. And then I've kind of been striking a balance between just enough gear to help me stay protected and a minimal amount of gear so I don't feel encumbered. That's one thing I really messed up when I was on the MABDR and the Sportster. It was like 93 degrees and I was wearing heavy ADV gear that was just suffocating, and I just felt drained at the end of every day. So it's really all down to personal preference of being comfortable and being safe, and which one do you kind of value more. Because I'll be honest, I can't really afford a lot of nice gear, so I just buy a lot of clearance stuff off the racks and very much entry level. I think my jacket's like Joe Rocket. It's like a mesh jacket and stuff. I think I paid like $40 for that on clearance. And then I need to look into some better riding pants because honestly, I haven't even been wearing leg armor. I've just been wearing ADV boots with a jacket and some gloves. So it's probably take my own advice and look for a good pair of pants at least to go riding this summer. Is Gordita going to get a makeover again? I would like to. But also that bike, I don't know. The bike has its limitations because it is a Sportster, but I mean, things that I've always wanted to do on it is a big bore kit. But the bike just runs so good right now. It doesn't leak a drop of oil. Like, I hate to tear apart the entire head, run the risk of not getting it back to normal, but I don't know. Jess does not see the investment return on that project. But now it's to the point where it just still doesn't really ride right. It just kind of rides like a 2x4, like a typical old Sportster. So really the next step on that bike, if I were to do something, is a complete custom suspension. I'm talking about, I would probably do a whole front fork conversion, a whole custom swing arm, and I'm saying I want like probably anywhere from 7 to 9 inches of shock travel front and rear on that. It would be a little extreme, but I can't do the Sportster rear suspension anymore. It's so stiff. Even with 15-inch shocks, it's only doing like 3.5 inches of shock travel. So will Gordita get a makeover again? I don't know. What's a good camera mic to use for motovlogging? I still use a GoPro 9. I think that's probably the worst GoPro now, everyone says. I'll probably have to replace it simply because my battery is going bad. It kind of crashes at times. It freezes. It's got its own little mind. And as for the mic, I literally use a headset gaming mic that I just unplug from the headset and plug into the audio adapter. And that's what I use. Is it the best? No. Is it the worst? No. It's all kind of personal preference. But I mean, watch some videos, see what other people are doing. I've seen some really interesting stuff now. I think it was Chase on Two Wheels. He actually does the DJI, attaches like this this actual mic inside his helmet. And I thought that was kind of cool idea. Do I have a dream bike? And what is my favorite bike we currently own? My dream bike changes week to week. So your guess is as good as mine. I daydream of turbo softail. That would be pretty cool. I daydream of buying an old Buell Cyclone. Um, I daydream of buying another Triumph Scrambler. Um, yes, I mean, it just changes day to day. I even daydream about my own bikes of if I could upgrade them. As for my favorite bike I currently own, it's probably my DR650. That bike, it's not the fastest and it's not made for crushing miles. It is purely just for me to get out and explore Ohio. And I don't know, it's just when you're driving along on a back gravel road, coming up over crests and just digging in, going up harsh roads, it's just, you find a groove with that bike that is fantastic. And I love gravel riding and stuff like that because it's just so much less traffic compared to main roads around Ohio. And I mean, they're not even that busy, but I love that bike. That bike is great. How do we handle insurance on all the bikes? Well, I think technically in this garage, I only own one bike, which is my DR, and then my Sportster. I think those two bikes combined are like $17 a month or something, maybe less. I think it's even probably half that. I don't know what Jess pays for all of her bikes. We do bundle all of them together. And I think we're also on a house insurance altogether. So it's not too bad, but also, I don't know, it's insurance. It's all a scam anyways. Finally, do I still work a regular job? So let me preface this, a little bit of backstory. About 10 years ago, I went through a lot of doctor checkups. Ultimately, we discovered that I have herniated discs all through my lower portion. I have bone spurs. I have a curvature in my back. I have impinging roots on my nerve spine. All of this started out with one morning I woke up and I couldn't even utilize my right leg. Jess had to basically carry me to the car, go to the hospital, and I got steroid injections there. And then after that, it was a snowball effect of taking prednisone, muscle relaxers, nerve blockers, all of that stuff until finally I went through, got an MRI, and they kind of told me all about the damage that I had. And I mean, I'll be honest, I've never been really gentle on my body. I always push myself way harder than I need to on labor jobs. I always have done warehouse work, used to cut down trees growing up. Uh, I don't even know how many miles of snow I've shoveled. I've fallen off stuff. I fell as a kid out of trees, chopping down trees. It was a little reckless, a little naive, a little stupid. Um, and a little bit of negligence on some other previous employers as well, because I would fall on job sites and stuff, and they'd ask me like, "Oh, are you okay?" And I'd be like, I think I'm standing upright. I hurt, but they're like, "Okay, well, suck it up." So that's how I figured you just handled job place injuries like that. I didn't know any better. I was too young and dumb. But getting to the point, in 2022, I did leave my job. Uh, I still go back and forth on regretting and not regretting, simply because I left my job, A, for physical reasons. It was getting harder to move, harder to walk. Just keeping up with that job, I really couldn't do it. And then Jess also wanted me to go with her on trips because, I mean, she'd get invited to go out to these big trips and stuff. After a few years of Jess doing her career path with YouTube and stuff, she wanted me to experience certain things with her. So it wasn't just like one thing to make me kind of leave my job. It was multiple. Basically, I'm living off of painkillers, muscle relaxers, nerve blockers, and steroids now, just to basically exist, up until the point where it becomes too painful, and then that's when I'll probably go in for surgery, get spinal fusions. So not to be too much of a downer, but I mean, I am very appreciative for the experience I've had here recently, especially with Jess, getting to go to Europe. And I mean, even on Europe, to get from the States over to Europe, I was basically drugged the entire trip on muscle relaxers. And then, I mean, I don't know if I should say this now, but even over there, to get through the days, I think it was 11 out of the 14 days I was over there, I was on some sort of muscle relaxer or steroid to make it through the trip. And I try to hide a lot of that from Jess, but I mean, she can never really gauge what my pain is currently in a day. That's also goes for how much work I do out in here in the garage. I mean, I'll do maybe one good day of work out here in a 5-day period, and that's about all I can really muscle, because then the rest of the time I'm stuck on the couch. And I mean, just here recently, I did something bad back when I was doing the front end on the Kawasaki, and I think it was probably about 2.5, 3 days before I could put my sock on. So yeah, like, did I really want to leave my job? No. So I don't know. Take that up to whatever you want. It is what it is. Will I go back to work? Hopefully. I wouldn't mind going back to work, finding something to do. All right, so to close out the video on a better note, I figure I'll go through and do some rapid fire questions just to kind of close out this video. What tools do you want or need? I would love like a lathe. I really want a TIG welder for aluminum. Probably eventually get a press to do bearings and stuff. And I would really like to get a hydraulic tube bender to build cages and certain frames and stuff like that. Any skills you want to learn, anything I can. I love learning new skills, especially when I come up to a new project and I don't know how to do something, I do the homework. For instance, I'm about to start learning how to do nickel plating in my garage to restore a lot of the old hardware on my Kawasaki. That was like 2 weeks of reading on how to do that stuff. Any travel plans for 2025? Hopefully. Probably mostly around Ohio. We'll see about the MABDR. Next vehicle. Nothing new, that's for sure. All that new technology can stay away. Hopefully a Wrangler. I really want to get a LJ Wrangler 2-door. That'd be really cool. That's all I really want. Will I be at Daytona Bike Week this year? No. I think. We'll see. I don't know. Depends on if Jess wants to drag me there, but probably not. Are you still trying to learn guitar? Yes, I'm terrible. Still playing the same 3 songs. Could be years before I learn something new. Still suck. Hands are still broken. What music am I currently listening to this day? Most of the music from high school, ironically. Kind of going backwards in that. New music is a lot of garbage. There are some highlights, though. I think it was the Coulter Wall guy. He's really cool. And then I just still kind of listen to like stick figures and a lot of like light music. I don't really listen to anything heavy anymore. A lot of the music I listened to from high school was like Blindside, Lost Prophets, Collective Soul, Incubus. Yeah, that's about it. But otherwise, I've just been listening to podcasts and stories and stuff like that. How is the Pan America durability? The one I rode in Europe was finicky, mostly because I think it was a European spec with emissions and stuff, and that was also a rental bike, so who knows how much it was beat up. Jessica's that she bought, that thing's great, but also all we've really done on it is pavement. I haven't really done any dirt on it. I don't really have any intentions on doing dirt on it. Not anytime soon, especially with the DR650. It's a little more superior, I believe, but a little lighter for me. But no, the Pan America is great. So far, we have had no problems. So, yeah. So, hopefully that answers some of your burning questions. Some of them probably weren't really that obvious. If you have any more that I did not answer, go ahead and ask questions down below, and I'll try to answer any more additional questions. If you like this type of video or just catching up, let me know. But let me know what you think I should do next year for motorcycle trips. With all that said, I am filming this the day after Christmas. Merry belated Christmas and Happy New Year. Hopefully we'll all have some great new adventures next year to share and some new projects. So with that said, take care and take it easy.